Hello, beautiful souls. It's Kristen Louise here. Now, I'm here to deliver channel transmissions and messages to assist humanity in ascending to the new earth. Today, I'm going to be sharing a message and some ideas that have been rattling around in my head for a few days now. Based on the concept of playing a little game called What If is the idea behind it. Now, I'm also going to share this video on my main page, but this is going to be the last time I do that. So if you like what you hear today and you would like to hear more of these messages, then I'll put a link to my group in the comments below. Please come over and join us, and let's get the party started. So today, a game of what if. Now, before we get into that, I'd just like to talk a little bit about what's going on, or what I'm feeling from Facebook at the moment is a lot of information, which I've spoken about before, but there's almost a sense of a lot of finger pointing, a lot of blame game being played at the moment towards the powers that be, the elite. And what I've realized in a lot of my messages as well, it's been very much us and them, us and them. And so in my head, I was thinking, well, is there really an us and them, or are we really all in this together? And are we just playing different roles and different parts in all of this? So there's no doubt about it, there's an awful lot going on our planet at the moment. And one of the other beautiful things that's occurring right now is there's a lot of energies coming through, and I have certainly felt this morning, towards opening our heart chakras and our hearts even more to love. And I've certainly been having some very vivid dreams, and had a really beautiful experience this morning where I was able to actually shed another whole layer of my past and my old self and open my heart even more to love. And a big part of that is self-love as well. So that's what's going on at the moment. So running with that theme, I thought, well, if we're opening up our hearts even more and we're getting all these beautiful energies sent down to us, then I wonder if we could play a little game where instead of us being bogged down in what we're seeing, what's going on, and information being pumped at us, if we could somehow zoom out of that for a moment. So we're not stuck inside everything that's going on. We've actually zoomed out. We're looking down on what is actually going on our planet right now. Because if we can zoom out and take a much broader perspective, then sometimes, or more often than not, you actually get much greater clarity. It's like when you're in a situation or even a workplace that you're not happy in, and you go in there every day, and every day it's like you're stuck in that same environment, and it's stressful, and it's it's not pleasurable, it's not pleasant. And sometimes when we're stuck in these situations, or a relationship, same thing, it's very difficult when you're actually in the thick of it to be able to see beyond that, or see outside of what's actually going on. So that's what I invite you to do with me today, is we have a little journey and we flick out of this for a moment and we have a look at what's actually going on in an effort to gain greater clarity, vision, right, perspective. And because what I've been thinking about, or what's been floating around in my head for the last few days, and I'm going to do my best to give voice to this today, coherently, of course, is this notion. So So we all come down here for a specific reason. We all come down to experience different things, right? Based on what our soul is wanting to experience and learn more about in the physical world. So based on that, what you might have come to experience could be very different to what I have, more than likely. Or maybe there's similarities, maybe there's not. I'd say there probably are if you're listening to this though. But some people might choose to come down and experience completely different things. So essentially what we are as individuals, we're like all one big part of one big beautiful tapestry, and we're all here reflecting different aspects of ourselves, because we do have the capacity to be all things, right? So what I was thinking was that, well, maybe these people who are down here, who have become corrupted, right? The elite, the powers that be, right? Figuratively speaking. So part of their journey that they chose to come down and experience is the other side. So the corruption, the power, the being driven by power and money, and to experience that side of life. But in effect, what these people are doing is actually serving the greater good. Because when you think about it, now I am not for a second condoning bad behavior, insidious acts of violence against people. Don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning any of that, and I certainly do not support it. But what I'm putting out there is an opportunity for us to think beyond this, to a place where we can possibly come to some sort of understanding or sense of compassion around this. And I'll explain why in a moment. So these people that are in these have become corrupted by outside agencies, right? Through their own greed and egos and lust and hunger for personal gain. But through their actions, it's actually enabled us, so many of us on the planet, to wake up. So if you think about that, because their actions are becoming so corrupted and so power and money driven, they're actually assisting us to wake up as a collective and go, hang on a minute, that doesn't feel good. Hang on a minute, no, I don't want to do that. Or no, why is that mandatory? Or through their actions, they are actually some of the big players and perpetrators of the Great Awakening process. Now, as I said, by me saying this, it doesn't mean I agree with what they're doing. Would I personally go and do that? No, but obviously they have chosen a very different path to me in this lifetime. And this is the path they have chosen. So maybe they have actually chosen it for our greatest, highest good. So by them showing up in this way and being this particular level of vibration allows us to see ourselves more clearly. They're actually holding up a mirror so we can see ourselves and go, hang on a minute, that doesn't resonate with me. Hang on a minute, that doesn't feel good. So maybe instead of us pointing fingers and blaming, politicians and all the people out there that are still attempting to control and manipulate us, is there any way we could actually turn our perspective around on this to actually one of appreciation? Because for them to be one of the key players in our awakening process as a global process, for them to allow us to see ourselves and to see what does align with us, what does feel good, what is in humanity's best interest, what is in our human species' best interest. And the beautiful thing is, by being able to do that and see this from this broader perspective, when we step outside of it, it gives us some really powerful tools. Number one, it gives us a level of understanding where we're out of this nitpicky blame game where we're right, they're wrong, us, them. We're all in this together. So maybe they are actually one of the, I don't want to, what's the right word? Maybe they are one of the key components in this whole process, and they don't even realize it. They don't even realize it themselves. So through their actions, what they're actually trying to achieve, they're achieving the opposite, because we're all waking up and saying, oh, wow, hang on a minute, that I don't like what you're proposing over there. I don't know that I want to live my life that way. So it allows us greater understanding. It takes us out of that lower vibrational state of blame game and us and them. Essentially what it's doing is it's uniting us and empowering us again and going, okay, thank you for showing me that. Thank you for putting your ideas out there for what you feel is best, by even though you are being influenced by outside agencies, but that doesn't feel good for me, and I'm going to say no to that this time around. So it's the understanding, and it's coming from a place of compassion, which is actually, you know, I hear so many people say, oh, that's a cop-out. It's actually the opposite. To be able to come at this with a sense of compassion and understanding is actually one of the most difficult things you can do. And one of the things that's actually elevates yourself and your frequency higher than it's ever been before. I'm going to give you an example of this, a personal example. So I've spoken a little bit about this before, but so a beautiful example of this that I had recently, a few weeks ago, is I recently shared that as a little girl, I was sexually interfered with by my grandfather from the time that I was 2 months of age. This started. So this is heavy. This was since the beginning of my lifetime. Right? So there's a lot of imprinting that goes on. There's a lot of beliefs that get formed around that. There's a lot of confusion around what love is, right? Yet recently, so my grandfather's been passed away for decades now. And recently I had the opportunity to come to a place of forgiveness and to forgive him. Now, he's in the etheric world, but the interesting thing about this was he was actually stuck out there. He was stuck what I call in God's waiting room. He couldn't cross over because he was still stuck in all these heavy base, low density emotions, right? Because this man actually wasn't sorry for what he did. He showed no remorse, and he said he did it because he wanted to. So I was in this situation recently through a fabulous friend doing a womb spiral, actually. If you want details of her name, I can pop that through to you. And she was actually conversing with him, and what he required to move on was forgiveness. Now, very interesting. So I sat with that and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to give this man forgiveness. I'm going to do it for him, but I'm going to also do it for me, because what I realized is while he was stuck out there, I was still stuck in this as well. There's this connection, this bond where we were still stuck in this together. So the greatest gift that I could have given him and myself was actually to forgive him, which is really coming to peace with it all. It's like coming to some level of understanding and compassion for one another. So the easiest thing for me to do would have been to think, well, screw you, you know, why should I forgive you? The hardest thing to do was to actually forgive him. But I knew then that by forgiving him, I was actually releasing me from this as well. So that's what I did. I forgave him. And the fascinating thing that I saw and felt and got to experience was the moment I forgave him from a soul level, he immediately transmuted into unconditional love and gratitude for me. It was immediate. So he went from these low, heavy emotions to bang, to infinite pure love. So I actually gave him his greatest gift, but I also gave it to myself, because the minute that that happened for him, I also felt that as well within me. So I shared this story because sometimes the easiest things for us to do is to stay stuck in these stories of, well, they're trying to get me, or I'm not supported, I'm not safe, or I'm powerless. But they're just stories. And at any moment, we have the capacity and the power within us to choose something different for ourselves at any given moment. So just as I did with my grandfather, I'm coming to this place of love and understanding and compassion for someone else, even if they're doing things that you couldn't possibly conceive of yourself doing. It actually frees you as well. It frees you from these constraints and shackles that weigh us down, where we feel like we're still victimized. We feel like we don't have a say in our own lives, because we do. At any given moment, you have the capacity to free yourself. And especially with these energies coming down and our hearts opening up even more, maybe this could be the ideal time for us to be able to have a look at this from a much broader perspective. And instead of pointing fingers and blaming people and keeping us in these stuck, stale energies, maybe we could actually come from a much broader perspective of understanding, where we see these people as actually assisting humanity in the awakening process. And if they weren't so in our face and so corrupted and so putting out such negative energy and vibrations and concepts for us to try, or for us to attempt to even digest, right? Maybe they are actually the key players in this, and maybe that is exactly what they signed up for. I'm going to come down as this lower vibrational. I choose to get corrupted at this point in time, and I choose to try and enforce humanity to do this, that, and the other, so that humanity can begin to wake up on a mass grand scale. Something to think about. Different perspective, I know. And what I like about that perspective is it feels good. It actually feels good to think that. And I know for me, feeling good is my number one priority, feeling at peace and feeling good. And for me to think of it that way and to put it into that kind of global context feels better than me sitting here and thinking about these people doing all these horrible, nasty things to us in the world and us being powerless to do anything about it. This actually also unifies us as a collective, as a species, where we are all playing our own individual key parts. And maybe with love being the strongest force there is, as Einstein told us, maybe this is actually the way to turn this whole thing around. So that maybe what they are attempting to do is actually the catalyst for doing the complete opposite, for everything spinning on its head. If we can come to a greater place of compassion and understanding for others. We are all the same. We are all in this together. No one's exempt. So to me, by being able to to think of it in this way actually enables us to also raise our own frequency and our vibration and what we're putting out in the world. So what we're putting out is more positive than negative. Because while we're stuck in these stories of what's going on and who's doing what to who and who's trying to do what to do, it's still keeping us in these lower vibrations, and it's keeping us in a stuck energetic state. And I don't know about you guys, but I would rather feel that I have some power and control over my own destiny and my life than to continue to feel stuck and powerless. So it's something to think about today. I'm just putting it out there, different perspective. Not saying it's right or wrong. There is no right or wrong anyway, but I really felt it was important to share and to get your ideas on it, and and just to open our hearts more to love, and to me that is a beautiful way to do that, to come from that place of compassion and understanding, and to continue to radiate love and light out into the world. So that's my thoughts for today. I hope you're all traveling beautifully. It is very interesting times, and I hope that you're enjoying all these beautiful heart-opening energies. And I will talk to you all very, very soon. Thank you for your support. I love you all so much. Bye for now.